welcome in. How's everybody doing today? Getting ready for the splashdown. Actually, the separation first. After that, I don't know how good a camera views we're going to have once they separate from the other module that has all the GoPros on the thing.
Integrity Houston, for the 2 enabled prop cautions, what happened is while the thrusters were firing, multiple pressure sensors on each of the strings diverged a bit from each other. Those limits look to be set pretty tight. We think it could happen again when the thrusters fire in the future, so we are going to suppress those messages.
We concur with suppress, not inhibit. Thank you.
Tabs open here.
That exchange between Jackie Mahaffey, our Capcom for tonight, and Reed Wiseman aboard Integrity, indicating basically to ignore sensor data. All of Integrity's systems are in good shape.
I don't know if the Joe command's still in there or not. Stream Elements is turned off for all those. They were all put into my new bot. And there's an update for it, and I haven't messed with it.
Now, coming up on about 90 seconds till the crew module, service module separation.
Put it down there. I think everything's working. Can y'all hear me?
All quiet here in Mission Control as we enter the most critical phase of the completion of this flight. All of the preparatory activities leading up to the vehicle entering the Earth's atmosphere just 21 minutes from now.
Waiting on Purdue. What do you mean waiting on Purdue? Oh, is that a trucking company or something?
Coming up on 1 minute.
I was thinking
Mark,
Purdue,
1 minute till crew module, service module separation.
All right, good deal. It's close to Earth. I still don't understand why their video quality isn't as good as it is. Probably because they're not using Starlink. Probably using government satellites. Or using ground-based antennas, probably. Oh, Purdue, the chicken company. Oh, okay. Ooh, hauling chicken. Getting a little reefer action in, huh? There's separation.
And we have confirmation of crew module, service module separation. And a great view, albeit momentarily.
Houston, good step on board.
Houston copies and concurs.
The European service module now separated from Integrity, a job well done.
Integrity, no action for the 4 CDH cautions. Those are SM related, not applicable.
Integrity.
Now, for a lot of this stream, we're probably not going to get some very good pictures, especially when they start re-entering. We'll get loss of signal, but we can listen to NASA talk about it. And as they get further away from that
with
module,
Integrity now flying free on its own for the remaining 32 minutes of this
Integrity, I think, has a
mission.
camera or two on it, but
Next up, the raise burn, a 19-second firing of Integrity's thrusters.
Once it flips around, we're going to be looking back at
Integrity copies, good GPS 2.
Coming up on the 2-minute mark until the raise burn. Again, this is the final tweaking
covered so much of
the orientation of Integrity.
2 minutes till splashdown.
To put it in the right angle, if you will, the angle of attack that it will fly in, during its entrance into the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface now just 18 minutes, 25 seconds away. This is a visualization, but driven by real-time telemetry. This is the maneuvering of integrity to the raised burn orientation.
Oh, wait a minute.
Just 2,800 miles from Earth.
I was about to say, because they've already friggin' separated. That's not real time.
Houston, we got a great view of the European service module out the window with the sun hitting the side and the solar rays and the NASA worm right there. It's a beautiful looking machine.
Roger.
And we have completed the maneuver to the raised burn orientation, 1 minute away from the raised burn.
And I guess they're not bringing these folks back by boat. They're picking them up by helicopter. Well, they're going to put them into like a rubber dinghy. They get them out, but then they're going to put a harness on them and pick them up with a helicopter. Fly them back to the ship. Yeah, watch all that we can. I'll give NASA credit. This has been one of their best streams for a mission. Just need to work on their Camo work a little bit. I mean, their streams in 4K on YouTube, but some of the images we're getting aren't very good. These aren't bad. Indoor.
And the crew
Cat's going in
module
and out.
raised burn is underway. A 19-second firing of the thrusters. And we have a completion of the burn.
Integrity. Good. CM raised burn. Your flight path angle is within limits.
Integrity copies. Looks good on board, Jackie.
So the final maneuver is now complete. Our trajectory for a splashdown in the Pacific 29 minutes from now is set and will not be amended any further. And we have the right angle of attack to mitigate any excessive heat loads on the vehicle during entry interface.
Integrity Houston, a heads up about comm coverage. When you perform the 180 roll, for the first minute or so in that attitude, we expect about a minute LOS.
We copy.
So for those who are watching the series of events coming up, we will enter the first traces of Earth's atmosphere 14 minutes, 45 seconds from now. 6:53 and 30 seconds is what is pegged for entry interface at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling at approximately 34,800 feet per second, range to touchdown or splashdown 1,701 nautical miles. 24 seconds after entry interface, we will enter a 6-minute blackout period in which we will lose communications with the crew. This is expected due to the buildup of plasma around the vehicle. That's an ionization effect due to the collision, if you will, of the velocity of the spacecraft with the friction of the Earth's atmosphere. That 6-minute blackout is expected to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time. During that period of time, we will reach our peak speed of 24,661 miles per hour. That comes just short, based on unofficial data from the flight dynamics officer right now, will come just short of the velocity record set by Apollo 10 of 24,791 miles per hour in 1969.
We ought to find out how well the capsule performed coming in. I think
We
it's a good
expect
capsule.
peak heating on the
We'll
vehicle
see how good
at
after the day.
6:54 and 52 seconds p.m. Central Time, a minute
Like I
and
said before,
22
they
seconds
need to
into
work on their
entry
launch vehicle.
interface.
Too damn
At that
expensive.
point,
and
we will be just 204,000 feet
using
above the
hydrogen
Earth,
for
traveling
fuel,
at 33,000
just
feet
hard.
per second.
Get all kinds of hydrogen leaks. You get valves that freeze
The
up.
blackout period is expected to last 6 minutes. We expect that blackout period to end at 6:59 and 55 seconds p.m. Central Time.
Launch.
From the end of the blackout period until splashdown, it is just 7 minutes, at which point we'll start deploying the series of parachutes to slow integrity down to an ultimate splashdown velocity of just 19 miles an hour.
Use 2 Falcon rockets.
We see the same, waiting for the 180 rolls.
As boosters. I don't know what the significant output is of each one, but
the parachute deployment sequence, once again, will come in several segments, but in rapid fire succession.
And we have a great view of the moon out window 2. Looks a little smaller than yesterday.
Guess we'll have to go back.
Reed Wiseman and Jackie Mahaffey exchanging discussion on a view of the moon that Integrity's astronauts are seeing in the final minutes of this mission that will be completed with splashdown just 25 minutes from now.
Welcome in.
3 forward bay cover parachutes will be used to pull the forward bay cover off the top of the vehicle. Then 2 drogue parachutes will be deployed to slow and stabilize the crew module during its descent, followed by 3 pilot parachutes that will lift and deploy the main parachutes from the forward bay. The final sequence will have 3 main parachutes deployed. These will be 116 feet in diameter, each main parachute approximately 265 feet long when reefed. The parachutes will ultimately slow Integrity down from its peak speed of almost 33 times the speed of sound to a gentle 19 miles an hour as splashdown.
Can y'all hear the audio okay on the stream? All right, Xbox,
the
appreciate you
vehicle
coming
is now
by.
currently in a roll to the proper attitude for entry interface. Our trajectory is right on according to flight dynamics.
It was spiking just a tad, so I turned it down.
Integrity is on a trajectory from southwest and northeast across the Pacific Ocean, descending at a rate of 15,000 feet per second.
Hang on, I keep coughing. I might have to put my mask on here.
Range to touchdown 4,300 nautical miles, all the systems in excellent shape.
And stars, but that's still an awful blurry view.
Orion in the EI roll 180 attitude.
Looks good on board, Jackie.
This view out of one of Integrity's windows. We had a call for 3 good baros. Those are barometric pressure sensors that feed altitude and rate of descent information to Integrity's computers that will trigger the parachute deployment sequence. We are less than 9 minutes away from entry interface, 22 minutes from splashdown. You can see the reflection of one of the crew members in the window. Out in the Pacific, the weather conditions remain go. Just a few clouds, some scattered clouds, winds at 10 knots.
It better be a go because they're on the way in now anyway.
Just about 4 feet. A gentle day in the Pacific for the homecoming of Integrity's astronauts.
Integrity back in EI attitude.
We see the same on board, Jackie. Houston, purge is complete. Crew and vehicle are configured for entry.
Houston copies.
And we're in step 37, transferring nav state to BFS. And Houston, in instruction 509, we are not below 0.2.
Integrity, no action required.
Integrity.
Now 6 minutes away from entry interface. We will hit the first traces of Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling about 34,882 feet per second. Range to splashdown at that point will be 1,701 nautical miles. And once again, just a reminder,
J-Cat,
some 24 seconds after entry interface, we do expect to lose communications with the vehicle and the crew during a 6-minute blackout period when a plasma shield will build up around the spacecraft due to the ionization, due to heating effects. And Flight Dynamics has just confirmed we will have a blackout period of exactly 6 minutes in duration. And once again, that's due to the fact that a plasma buildup around the vehicle will prevent communications and data, so we will not be able to talk to the crew members at that time, nor will we receive data here in the flight control room.
Houston, everything is looking good on board. Just confirm no pre-EI downloads.
Houston concurs.
That blackout period to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time, and again will last about 6 minutes in duration. We're 4 minutes away from entry interface.
Actually, I forgot to put my headphones on. That's not echoing back through my mic, is it? Hey, Sarah, welcome in.
This view from Integrity as it crosses from southwest to northeast across the Pacific Ocean, 3 minutes from entry interface. "16.5 minutes till splashdown." The USS John P. Murtha and the recovery team is on station and in position.
I'm doing okay. I'm a little congested just because of the weather, but
as Artemis enters the Earth's atmosphere and through parachute.
Today was kind of a lazy day. I didn't do much. I did a little bit of work here in the house, and that was it. You're welcome.
All of Integrity's systems are in great shape. The crew is ready to complete its mission just 15.5 minutes from now.
I'm feeling all right. I'm just still real weak. I can't get up and do a whole lot.
No issues with the vehicle.
I mean, I can, but have to do it in spurts. My back has got I've been so active, and over the last week, my back's been acting up, and nerves in my legs are a little rough, but can't go any higher up on my gabapentin without screwing myself up. Getting loopy.
Coming up on 1 minute until entry interface.
Oh, I did today. Tomorrow I got to get out and paint hives. I got some special water-based paint I got to put on there and then seal it up. I don't know if I've got enough to do one full hive with it, though. And then I've just got some tung oil to put on the other one.
Until the expected start of our 6-minute blackout.
Integrity, 1 minute to.
And hopefully I have enough for that.
Integrity.
Yeah, tung oil. Yeah, some kind of oil. I don't know, but it's a natural oil. It's supposed to be good on beehives. Although the bees don't eat the wood anyway. Unless you've already got a hole, and they might chew it out to make the hole bigger so they can get in and out. But most of the time, if there's a little hole, they'll seal it up with propolis anyway.
10 seconds till entry interface.
Whose tongue was it on? I have questions. I have questions too. You can get it on eBay.
And we have crossed the threshold, now entering the Earth's atmosphere.
I think they use guinea pig tongues. Just kidding.
800 feet per second.
I'm going to get smacked now.
Time to splash down 13 minutes, 10 seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till next week. I've got the oil to change the oil in my mower, but I was lazy today and didn't go uptown. I need to get a oil filter, and another cheap inline fuel filter.
No voice, no data from the crew.
Tell me about it, Sarah.
We're 30 seconds.
Oh, there may be turtle tongues.
Point of peak heating on the vehicle, where temperatures will.
His tongue is not oily.
This is the true test of our trajectory. And from the G5 aircraft in the vicinity of the splashdown zone, this view of Integrity. So that pinpoint of light shows the vehicle.
Yeah, one little dot.
As it enters the period of peak heating in the Earth's atmosphere, the first tug of gravity.
Little squiggly dot. They're having a hard time keeping the camera steady.
since their launch back on April 1st. Four and a half minutes until the end of the blackout period. Time to splash
4 people over on YouTube. Appreciate it.
Seconds.
Welcome in. Don't mind, give the stream a like. 4 likes so far. Thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. Trying to hit that 500 mark. Well, I'm at that now. 441. Getting closer.
The landing and support officer reports that the P3 has acquisition on integrity. Three and a half minutes left in this.
I wouldn't know if Turtle's tongue is oily or not. I haven't made out with him yet.
The plasma buildup around the spacecraft
Yeah.
and the repelling of that heat on Integrity's heat shield.
Dang headache's been bugging me today too. I had this dang headache since January. I thought it was because I was sick, but it just won't go away. Yeah, staying very hydrated with water and everything else.
Splashdown zone do have a visual on Integrity. Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in our.
In fact, I just finished a big thing of water before I got tea to go with my dinner.
9 minutes.
Had some chili before I jumped on. There you go, Joe. That's what I had. I kept a laptop in my truck. That's how I started playing World of Warships on truck stop internet. Man, those days sucked.
Multiple airborne assets as part of the recovery team.
Using raid call. Discord wasn't even around back then. Oh, I wish I'd only peed 6 times a day. But that's because of my prostate.
And the WB-57 flying in the splashdown zone also has a visual. And the Navy helos.
Depends on what you're going to do with it, Joe. I mean, you just going to use it in the truck to stay connected, or are you going to try to game on it, or?
We're still in the blackout period. Still do not have communications from the crew.
I haven't even looked. I'll start looking around and see if I can find some good deals. But right now, there's not good deals on anything until the RAM and chip prices start coming down. You could probably find a good one for about $1,000, $1,100. I mean, not going to be a great gaming machine, but it'll give you something to do in the truck.
Standing by for communications from the crew. We should be out of the blackout period less than a minute from now.
The MSI makes some decent ones. Don't go out and buy an alien gear or something stupid like that. I hear you. Yeah, I'm still saving up to get some yard work done. Got to get some trees cut and this property leveled out.
We are now processing data from Integrity.
Not sure what each one of those is going to cost yet. Yeah, Alienware, you're playing for the logo. All it is, it's an expensive Dell laptop. And their service sucks. Or customer service does, anyway.
Support officer reports the small boats are en route to the splashdown.
I'd stick with an MSI or not Acer, Asus. Alienware used to be a great brand back in the day. Is that a still photo or a video? Still photo, I guess. They can see it coming in. Look like an infrared camera, though.
Passing through 150,000 feet, our trajectory is perfect. We're getting intermittent views of integrity. Still waiting to establish voice communication.
Integrity, Houston, comm check, post blackout.
Houston, Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
Your trajectory is nominal and your recovery teams have visual.
Guidance looks good.
No action for the enabled internal camera controller fail.
Big cheers from the viewing room here in Mission Control as voice communication reestablished with Commander Reed Wiseman. For America and a waiting world, integrity is
Good thing I don't have epilepsy. Well, that thing's flashing.
Passing 100,000 feet now. Range to splashdown 19 nautical miles.
Close then. As fast as they're moving.
Integrity impact to the camera controller fail is no cab 1 views of the chutes.
Oh, crap. I got a camera controller failure, so we're not going to get to see the parachutes come out.
Processing good data
From the ship, anyway.
GPS system.
Oh, there we go. That's a pretty good image.
Time to splash down 4.5 minutes.
For NASA.
And a view of integrity from the WB-57. We're at 50,000 feet. The pyros are armed for forward bay covered jettison.
Those are the drogues.
And there go the first series of parachutes. And we're on drogues.
And Houston, we're visual 2 drogues out the window.
2 good drogue shoots. Next up.
We copy, we see them.
Coming down pretty fast. They need to go ahead and deploy the other chutes.
Pull the main chutes out. Time to splash down 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Probably just the angle that the aircraft is filming this from, though. Looks like it's right above the water.
Perfect descent rate according to flight dynamics.
Good rates on 2 drogues.
We see the same on board.
Passing through 10,000 feet. Still on drogues.
They wait till the last minute to pop these chutes on this thing, don't they? 10,000 feet. Goes the mains.
Main chute deploy. We're at 5,000 feet. Search and recovery beacon has been activated on integrity. And we have 3 good main chutes. Good 3 main chutes, good reefing,
Houston,
good descent rate.
Good rates, and we see 3 good-looking parachutes.
I think they said they're still going to be hitting the water at like 19 miles an hour.
Integrity, cabin
That's
pressure indicates
still a pretty good jolt.
hydrazine checks.
Integrity copies.
This is a perfect descent for Integrity. Its crew sounding hale and hearty on board. Time to splash down 1 minute, 15 seconds. Integrity about to complete a journey spanning 694,481 miles from its launch from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st, and a trip around the moon.
They're using the maneuvering thrusters to kind of work in. Looks like.
Passing through 1,000 feet.
Integrity splashdown, sending post-landing command
There you go.
now.
Splashdown confirmed.
Copy splashdown, waiting on VLDR.
Splashdown confirmed at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time. From the pages of Jules Verne to a modern-day mission to the moon, a new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete. Integrity's astronauts back on Earth.
They snagged on one of the parachutes. Get along.
And the landing and support officer reports the vehicle is stable 1. We still will be deploying the crew module uprighting system to maintain that orientation. A perfect bullseye splashdown for Integrity and its 4 astronauts.
Was a pretty splashdown. Didn't take long for the boats to get there. They were only about 5 miles away from the landing area.
47 seconds p.m. Central Time. We'll get that refined for you. That would put the end of the mission at a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 31 minutes, 35 seconds. And we're configuring for very low data rate.
Those are the boats.
Once again, splashdown occurring in the Pacific, southwest of San Diego at 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m.
Integrity, Houston, comm check on VLDR.
Houston, we have you loud and clear on VLDR. How else?
We have you the same. We'll meet you over in post-landing.
Perfect communications established.
What a journey. We are stable 1, 4 green crew members.
Houston copies all.
Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members. That is not their complexion. That is the fact that they're in great condition. That's what that means. So stable 1, upright. The crew module uprighting system is being deployed. The 5 airbags being inflated through helium to maintain the upright configuration for the vehicle. This was a textbook entry and a textbook touchdown for Integrity. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen back on Earth after a journey around the moon.
Friggin' 4 balloons look funny, but they're there in case it lands upside down. It'll help upright it. Or if it's in real windy or stormy seas. Upright. Flight deck of the main rescue ship. I can't remember what it was. USS something.
We continue to monitor the functioning of the CMOOS system. The airbags are being inflated to maintain a stable 1 or upright configuration. And there's a good view from one of the naval helicopters hovering overhead. Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members, meaning they're all in excellent shape.
Yes, the Navy. Sorry, Sarah. Yeah, that's why the helicopters are circling now to pick them up. But the boats are going to get out there and actually get them out of the capsule and onto the boat, and then they're going to put them into harnesses and lift them out with the helicopter. Lift them up one at a time and fly them back to the boat.
Beacon on. However, the recovery team is not seeing the signal. Your SAW radio uses the same antenna, so you may run into trouble with the radio.
Oh, the rescue people can't pick up the beacon.
We are also powering up the sat phone now.
So Integrity is in great shape, and as the crew continues its post-splashdown timelined activities on board, Reed Wiseman once again reporting that all 4 crew members are in excellent shape. And we have 5 inflated airbags to maintain an upright configuration so that the recovery team can now begin a slow approach to the vehicle. Meanwhile, here in the flight control room, Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling is polling his team of flight controllers for the start of powering down the vehicle after a thorough systems check. We have no toxic gases to be concerned about, so the recovery personnel can approach the vehicle, but not until we have powered down the spacecraft. That's expected to take a few more minutes.
And I don't know if they're going to hoist that up out of the water and onto a ship, or maybe they got a bigger helicopter coming to pick it up.
It was
don't know how that works.
For all intents and purposes, a textbook mission.
On 28, but I'll remain on this frequency.
It's been a while since NASA actually had a rocket that went up and came back. I don't know what their SOP is on that now.
Indicating some trouble with the SARSAT phone on board, but that's not an issue. What is more important is that the vehicle is solid. No issues as we begin the power down of the vehicle to begin the recovery process.
I know with SpaceX, usually within like 3 minutes of the capsule hitting the water, got boats swarming it.
System on integrity.
Can you say again? That was very weak and broken.
Integrity, Houston did not call.
Copy that, Houston. It might have been on the
With
radio.
SpaceX's capsule, they stay in there until they hoist the thing up out of the water and onto the recovery boat.
All of the milestones were executed in perfect fashion. Integrity entering the Earth's atmosphere right on time, reaching its peak speed shortly after a blackout period began. We emerged from the blackout period.
Seems that the heat shield did its job. We'll see after they pull it out of the water and inspect it.
Assets were able to pick up Integrity's descent almost immediately through entry interface, tracking the vehicle all the way down. And finally, you saw the sequence of chute deployments. First, the forward bay cover being pulled off the top of the vehicle by a series of 3 parachutes. Then the drogue chutes were deployed, followed by the 3 main
kind of boat
that slowed the splashdown
velocity. I think that's what that is in the
of
distance.
Integrity to just 19 miles an hour.
SpaceX sends all kinds of boats out.
With no joy on SAR and SAT phone, we'd like you to command an additional 15 minutes for a total of 30-minute power down delay.
Okay. Wait another 15 minutes.
All right, Jackie, we have selected T/D+30. No joy on SAR radio or sat phone. And stand by, we have the master diver on SAR radio. Please hold comms.
Hey, Lily. Excuse me. Hey, Jackie, we just got the master diver on SAR.
That's a better image. See the boat now.
Good view of one of the fast boats.
Integrity Houston, if you are happy with your comm with Master Diver, you can go back to the 15-minute power down.
Okay, stand by. Yeah, we'll confirm here in a second.
The crew on board Integrity coordinating with the flight control team in Houston here in Mission Control on the timing of the power down of the vehicle, which will be the precursor to the recovery teams approaching the spacecraft. There are no issues with Integrity. We've had a bit of broken capability in establishing a SARSAT or satellite phone communications capability between the crew on board Integrity and the recovery team. That will get sorted out here shortly. There's plenty of cooling on board Integrity, so there's no rush to begin the power down.
To call you on the sat phone and not getting an answer there either.
Concur. We haven't had anything come through.
And Houston, if you could relay to recovery that we hear them, but it does not appear as though they are hearing us.
Houston copies, and Reed, just to confirm, you are pushing the PTT on the radio?
That's a stupid question. I think a pilot knows how to use a radio.
So as we continue to sort out the communications between Integrity and the recovery teams, we are standing by for the initiation.
He's not even going to answer that back. He's like, fuck you.
As you see, the recovery teams are moving towards the
like asking, did you power it off and back on again?
The major event will be the erection of that large inflatable raft.
I bet you the antenna on the capsule's probably damaged. You can probably receive, but it's not transmitting very well.
The port of call for the crew as they're being extracted one by one from the vehicle.
Master Diver's right there now. Right up on it.
Integrity Houston, for sat phone, we are going to attempt to call you.
Good idea, standing by.
And Jackie, yes, we are pushing the push to talk, the two buttons on the left side of the radio below the up-down arrows. We are utilizing them. I'm rebooting the radio to see if we get good comms.
Okay, we copy all, and just to confirm, you are seeing that you're touchdown plus 3030 for power, correct?
That's the affirmative.
That beautiful Black Hawk.
We are trying a backdoor approach to have mission control here call the crew on their satellite phone. This is all part of the coordination for the power down of the vehicle that will initiate the actual recovery operation. The first boats with the Navy divers on board are standing by, waiting to close in on Integrity to begin the process of erecting the large inflatable raft that's called the front porch that will be where the astronauts are extracted from so that they can have a few minutes to get their land legs back before they're hoisted aboard the Navy helicopters for the flight back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha.
Do not reply.
And Houston, please don't reply. NRD, very weak, but readable. Master Diver, we can hear, but they cannot hear us.
Guess the sat phone was a backup for the radio. But inside that capsule, they're probably not getting much of a satellite signal. All that stainless steel around them.
And Houston on OE1, is there any chance to tie us into NRD?
Checking.
This is Mission Control, Houston. While we stand by for the establishment of communications between Integrity and the recovery team that is
it's Lady Mina. It's a little. Hey, welcome in. It's a little bit normal.
The USS John P. Murtha, where Megan Cruz is
Because
standing by with
before they can pop the hatch, I guess they have to power everything down. But they're trying to establish communication right now. Their radio isn't transmitting, but it is receiving.
To be able to be here on the ship, to be able to share and experience this moment with everyone together, and of course, as you just said, yes, here with NASA Administrator
And
Jared Isaacman,
they have a satellite phone as a backup, but they're not getting a signal on it. Apparently, they couldn't even
I'm still at a loss for words. I mean, you know, like
even flight control couldn't get a hold of them on the sat phone.
I mean, almost been waiting my whole lifetime to see this, and then
sounds like they're going to have to change designs on their radio antenna.
The years, the effort, the late nights, all the hard work from across the country that contributed to this incredible moment right now. And yeah, incredibly grateful too for our teams here on the John P. Murtha right now.
Yeah, look at them behind us here.
Got everybody. Hey, what do you guys?
I know the SpaceX covers theirs with heat tiles.
Thank you. Yeah, so grateful to the Navy, the sailors that are here, the NASA teams. I mean, this is a joint effort that's on their way right now. These recovery forces are getting out to our Orion spacecraft, to Integrity, to get our astronauts back on the ship safely.
Yeah, and this is not just an accomplishment for NASA. This is an accomplishment for humanity. Again, a historic mission to the moon and back.
There's a good shot of the ship.
Make you feel, and what do you hope people take away from this?
Little crusty
I think about,
after reentry.
The crew members that we've all had an opportunity to observe over the last 10 days, right? I mean, they're absolutely professional astronauts. I mean, wonderful communicators, almost poets. But then I think these were the ambassadors from humanity to the stars that we sent out there right now. And I can't imagine a better crew than the Artemis II crew that just completed a perfect mission right now. So, yes, it's a huge moment for everybody, right? I mean, we are back in the business of sending astronauts to the moon, bringing them back safely, and to set up for a series more. I mean, this is not a once-in-a-lifetime, which you hear sometimes around here. It's like, this was a once-in-a-lifetime. No, it's not. This is just the beginning. We are going to get back into doing this with frequency, sending missions to the moon until we land on.
I think the next Artemis mission is going to go out to the moon and actually stay there longer in orbit.
I mean, it's just around the corner.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's, you know, part of me, too. Like, I can't wait to get the crew.
And then Artemis 4 or 5, whichever one is supposed to be the one that actually lands on the moon. But
so we can start taking a look at it, because all that data is so precious to us right now.
That's still a couple years out
take a good look at
for
the
NASA.
Protection system. We're going to want to download all the data they couldn't transmit back to us and use that to inform Artemis 3. But we're already making progress, right? You had SRB segments already showing up at KSC. Core stage for Artemis 3 is rolling out on April 20th. We're getting Mobile Launcher 1 back in vehicle assembly building. So yes, there is a lot to celebrate right now on a mission well accomplished for Artemis 2, and at the same time,
yeah, they did. They completed just about everything, as far as I know.
For people who joined us for all 10 days to see what we can accomplish together with our international partners, what do you think about the fact that we're going to keep doing this more and more and more?
It's incredibly exciting. I mean, yes, it's the contributions, like the best and brightest across the NASA workforce from across the country, our industry partners, our international partners. We had a Canadian Space Agency astronaut on board in Jeremy. We had the European Service Module. And you think, in the days leading up to this launch, I mean, 48 hours prior to launching Artemis 2, I was meeting with the Italian Space Agency. We signed a memorandum of understanding to build a habitation module on the moon. I mean, you have countries, all of our allies and partners coming together saying, we are committed to this effort. We are returning to the moon. We're doing it to stay. We are building that enduring presence. We are going to master the skills on the surface of the moon so someday we can undertake missions to Mars. It's just an incredibly exciting time, and we're not going at it alone. We're bringing everybody along with us.
Absolutely. And speaking of everyone, one more time, we're going to ask the crew here, you guys ready to land on the moon? Awesome. I love that. Okay, well, thank you so much, Administrator. Appreciate you being here. We're, of course, going to stay on to watch the crew get extracted from Orion, so stay tuned, and we'll see you back here shortly.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you, Administrator Isaacman. We are in the process of working to establish that communications link and to establish the procedures that will lead to the power down of the spacecraft, which is gently bobbing in the Pacific following a bullseye touchdown that occurred at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time, 2.5 hours before sunset.
Good question. I don't know if they pop it from the inside or from the outside, or they can probably do both.
Once again, heard from the crew during that interview opportunity with the administrator.
They've got the dive teams ready. It's just
members on board.
They haven't got it. They haven't been able to get in contact with them yet. That's usually why they're waiting for power down. But
the vehicle has been powered down.
Oh, okay, it has been powered down now.
The procedures. So we have vehicle powered down, and the flight control team here in Houston, Flight Director Rick Henfling, has handed over mission authority to the Exploration Ground Systems team out in the Pacific. Now, we will physically not get off console with this team until the crew has been extracted into the front porch, that inflatable raft that will be erected along the side hatch of Integrity. So we're standing by for that in the next step in the recovery procedures. But everything is in great shape, and we have 4 healthy crew members on board the vehicle.
I think they ensure a power down first, just so in case when all the divers are there trying to set up the front porch thing and they get close, that one of the actual maneuvering thrusters doesn't actually fire by accident. That would suck to get blasted in the face. We're in the Pacific. Don't know, somewhere off the coast of California.
Perfect trajectory.
I would say Southern California.
That was culminated with one final raise burn.
Probably somewhere in your neighborhood, Lady Mina.
For the vehicle as it entered the Earth's atmosphere, all of that flight dynamics computation worked like a charm.
You need to get out. Right now, they're a little weak. They've been used to zero gravity or microgravity. Southwest of San Diego? Okay. That makes sense because there's a naval base down there.
The recovery team to approach Integrity and begin the process of erecting that inflatable raft called the front porch, which will see the crew members be extracted from the hatch of Orion into that inflatable raft before they're hoisted aboard 2 Navy helicopters in
I hear you, Lady Mina.
configurations.
How you been doing, by the way?
Will be hoisted in sequential fashion, in alternating fashion, 2 crew members for each helicopter. Before
Did you get all your mom's stuff squared away?
John P. Murtha. Once on the deck of the ship, they'll be brought into medical bay for comprehensive medical exams. But Reed Wiseman has reported several times that the crew is in excellent shape. So just to recap, it has been some 26.5 minutes since the splashdown of Integrity in the Pacific. The vehicle is in excellent shape. It performed like a champ all the way down through the Earth's atmosphere. All of the vehicle functions were checked off in excellent trip hammer fashion.
Got 5 likes over there on YouTube. Thank you much, folks.
Deployed as planned. Splashdown occurring at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time. And after a bit of a tussle to try to establish a communications link with the recovery team, we were finally able to run through the procedures for the powering down of the vehicle. We've handed over mission authority to the Exploration Ground Systems folks out in the Pacific, and the recovery team will be approaching the vehicle shortly to erect the inflatable raft called the front porch before opening the hatch to Integrity to bring the crew members onto that raft before they're hoisted onto 2 Navy helicopters, 2 crew members for each helicopter, before they're flown back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, a lot of paperwork. Your sister just needs to sit and spin, if you know what I mean. She was no help at all, and now she wants everything, doesn't she? That's when I die. Everything's pretty simple. Everything goes to my daughter except for my guns, and they go to my buddy. Antarctica? Be awful cold down there for you. You used that California weather. It's getting close to summertime down here, almost 80 degrees during the day. I think it was in the upper 70s today. It's still 71 right now. Although it'll probably drop down the 40s and 50s again tonight.
This is Mission Control Houston. After talking to the flight dynamics folks, we have a bit of a refinement on the splashdown time for you. Their computation shows a splashdown time of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time, 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time.
Spray again. I'm getting stink bugs in here again.
That would equate to a mission elapsed time.
Damn, I need to clean this ceiling
1
too.
hour, 32 minutes and 15 seconds.
Hey, Kim, welcome in.
Once again, from Flight Dynamics, a splashdown time of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time.
I'm doing all right.
That would equate to a mission elapsed time.
I was kind of lazy today. I didn't do much. Did a little work here in the house.
And 15 seconds.
Not enough of anything, though. I still got to steam clean carpets in the bedroom.
Reports from
about time to sweep and mop again. The cats friggin' have cat food everywhere.
In communications with the crew aboard Integrity, that the crew remains in excellent shape as they await the approach of the team for a final hazard gas evaluation before they move to the side of the vehicle.
If y'all are watching the deer stream tomorrow, you might see me out there painting my hives. I set up my foldable table out there in the yard. Start painting and varnishing beehive sections.
Again, no issues with Integrity. The vehicle is powered down. All of its systems are now safed we have handed over mission authority to the Exploration Ground Systems folks in the Pacific, but we will not stand down.
Once I get them painted, I'll go ahead and set them out there on the stand.
Control team depart its positions
not sure when I'm going to get the bees yet.
Inflatable,
my bee buddy actually got a job working at our mobile home plant, so he's kind of busy 5 days a week now.
So that's the next step in the recovery.
Plus, I think he's also painting somebody else's house on the side.
For 2 crew members for each helicopter, they'll be hoisted.
And like I said, I don't know where his bees, what stage they're at right now. You have to wait till you're ready to split hives, which is coming up pretty soon here in the south.
What you're looking at is one of the
some places they're already splitting hives
to make a hazard assessment.
Somebody approaching now. I haven't seen the hatch, I guess because I keep moving the camera on the opposite side. Or where the hatch is at. I think it's there on the left side of that image there, I think. I don't know. Yeah, why did I light another cigarette? Like, I need another friggin' more honey for my coffee. Yeah, I don't know if I'll actually get any honey at all this year. It depends on how fast my hives grow and store honey, because I want to make sure they have enough to make it through the next winter. Just depends on it. They're liable to just completely take off. And oh, it looks like they're doing sensor readings, making sure there's no dangerous gases. It just depends on how fast my my bees take off. I mean, I hope my bee guy is going to be able to come up with some bees. He should with all the hives he has, but he's already promised me some bees. And oh, yes, I'm still paying for them. But I can't tell. It looks like they're wearing gas masks, and they're sniffing for any kind of leaking gases first.
This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, you're watching the initiation of the recovery of the Artemis crew aboard Integrity. All of the Navy divers and the fast boats are now approaching the spacecraft after conducting a hazard assessment. The vehicle has been powered down. Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling now waiting for the life raft, the front porch, to be erected along the side of the vehicle so that the hatch can be opened and the crew members extracted from Integrity, soon to be hoisted one by one into a pair of Navy helicopters for a short flight back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha. If you missed it earlier, we talked to Flight Dynamics and received a more official touchdown time or splashdown time, as it were, of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Pacific Time. That would equate to a mission elapsed time.
How many times you got to sniff around there? That's your third go around.
Seconds.
Yeah, I might be able to get a couple jars of honey for my coffee this summer, but we'll see. I'm gonna wait and make sure that they've got plenty to make it through the winter. I've still got 2 jugs of honey sitting over there. Since it's warming up, I'm not drinking as much coffee. I have to start making a half a pot at a time because I've been throwing it out. And like we were talking earlier, I'm trying to drink more water during the day too. How long does it take to get the go ahead and move in? NASA's a lot slower than SpaceX. Communication stuff, a little bit of a pain. I don't know why they couldn't just relay from Houston or from NASA's base in California. I mean, because they were talking to them. But being the first time for NASA in a while, I'm sure they're all being extra fucking cautious too.
Continuing to get excellent views from the imagery assets out at sea in the Pacific of Integrity. We continue to get good reports from the landing and support officer, who's in contact with the recovery team, that the crew is in excellent shape.
10 people here over on Twitch.
They're just
looks like 3 over on YouTube. Welcome in, folks.
To be erected. We have no hazardous gases.
5 likes so far over on YouTube.
Situation with the vehicle, it performed perfectly all the way down from entry interface to its splashdown in the Pacific at 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. And as you can see, the first phalanx of recovery personnel now pulling up alongside of Integrity. This includes Navy divers and Navy flight surgeon and other recovery personnel who have trained for several years for this recovery process.
That capsule must be pretty light. It's sitting awful high in the water. Right, they're hooking on.
At this hour, some 41 minutes following splashdown, the vehicle has been powered down. There's no hazardous gas emanating from the vehicle. That's why the first team of recovery personnel has been able to pull alongside Integrity. And the reports continue to come in that the 4 astronauts are in excellent shape. Yes.
Oh, Kim's saying hi, everybody in Twitch chat, YouTube side. It is kind of small, but it's bigger than the Apollo capsules were. And I'm thinking it's probably roughly the same size as Starship's Crew Dragon. A little bit different shape and configuration.
This is Mission Control Houston, continuing to watch the initiation of the recovery of Integrity's astronauts. One by one, they'll be brought out of the spacecraft onto
Methadone.
just a short time from now. In the meantime, we can go back to the USS John P. Murtha, where my colleague Megan Cruz is standing by to provide her situation report. Megan, can you hear us?
Hey, Rob. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. Yeah, we're back here on the bow of the recovery ship where there are still plenty of people peering out into the water. We are not very far from the action everyone is seeing on their screen now. The Orion spacecraft Integrity in the ocean, surrounded by a number of recovery boats. As Rob has been saying, in those recovery boats, NASA and Navy personnel specifically trained to get the astronauts out of Orion. In some of our wide shots, you can probably see that there are 6 boats out in the water. More than 40 people out in the water right now on those boats.
That little dinghy right there looks a little overloaded to me. Kim Lady Mina says hi from the Twitch side. Looking at Twitch and YouTube, I can't tell which stream looks better.
First,
hey, Moon Bear, welcome in.
Is to set up the front porch and the stabilization collar. You might also hear it referred to as a stab collar. Basically, just to make sure that
there's the hatch there.
Orion stays upright, doesn't sway in the water too much. Again, to make it easier for recovery forces to get the astronauts out. Again, we splashed down in the Pacific Ocean just after 5 p.m. Pacific time here. It's a requirement by NASA to be able to get the crew out of Orion within 2 hours of splashdown.
2 hours? That's a hell of a window.
Doing great on time so far. Plenty of time. No rush either. I was speaking to NASA flight surgeon Rick Schuring earlier in this broadcast, and he said to me, no rush to get the crew out. Just want to make sure that they're feeling good. And whenever they're ready to take their step out of Orion and onto that large raft, the front porch, folks will be ready.
Like they're trying to open the hatch. I think they want to put that front porch on first because that thing tips now, it's going to take on water. Although, looks like pretty calm seas today.
Audio loops in mission control in Houston. There is a mission audio loop here on the ship, and it was just reported out that the side hatch is open. Side hatch of Integrity is open. You're getting these beautiful shots from our aerial assets. The ship itself, where I'm on, just 3,000 yards away. Again, plenty of people on the boat here, glued to the side closest to where they can see all this action. And again, with just 3,000 yards separating us, great views from the bow.
Probably the flight surgeon right there crawling in.
You can see now.
He'll go and talk to them and check them all out before they unstrap them from the seats, I think.
Is about to get inside there.
That might be part of the front porch that they have to attach to the doorway. I don't know.
So it'll be a little bit of a tight squeeze, but the goal is to have a recovery personnel with each astronaut assessing them.
I'm doing all right there, Moon Bear.
Boat's getting closer now. Again, that one that's right up against Orion, those are the divers that will go in to the spacecraft to check on each of the astronauts. These other boats will begin doing a number of things, putting on that stabilization collar onto Orion, building that front porch. Eventually, they will retrieve the parachutes, as well as tow Orion back to the well deck of the recovery ship here.
Okay, they're going to tow it back to the ship then. Wasn't sure if they're going to get even a bigger helicopter to lift it up and out. I don't think a Black Hawk's big enough to pick something like that up.
So as we wait for the Navy and NASA personnel to get their assessment of the crew inside of Orion, why don't we toss it back to Rob for an update?
Yeah, thank you, Megan. Here in Mission Control, Flight Director Rick Henfling and the entry team of flight controllers still on duty. The vehicle has been powered down for some time now. There are no hazardous gases emanating from Integrity. That, of course, allowed the recovery personnel to approach the vehicle and then open the hatch to begin the initial medical assessment of the crew, as you just indicated. Now we're standing by for the erection of that inflatable raft, the front porch, alongside of the vehicle that will enable the crew to be extracted one by one onto the raft, have a moment or two to get their land legs back before they're hoisted into two hovering Navy helicopters, two crew members for each helicopter for a short flight.
I don't see how they're going to get their land legs back sitting on a friggin' rubber raft thing, but okay, whatever.
All of Integrity's systems operated flawlessly throughout the course of the approach to the Earth, the entry into the Earth's atmosphere, and all of the key milestones that followed in this high-speed return to Earth for Integrity, a mission that spanned more than 694,000 miles from the vehicle's launch from the Kennedy Space Center atop the Space Launch System back on April 1st.
Looks like a redneck beer party out on the lake. Not say what? What'd I say? Oh, I'm sure there's more than enlisted out there. I'm sure there's a few officers out there on board those boats, or at least senior enlisted.
As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, the last time that the Apollo program saw a splashdown in the Pacific was Apollo 17 back on December 19th, 1972. So for the first time in 53 and a half years, we have reenacted that with the arrival of Integrity's astronauts as they flew
NASA.
around the moon in that
Been a while
historic
since they've done
lunar
this.
flyby that began with a trans-lunar injection burn that took them out of Earth orbit following 24 hours of a high Earth orbit trajectory. The high Earth orbit trajectory enabled flight controllers here to have a full 24 hours.
I got divers in the water now too. Cool.
The systems on Integrity and the condition of the crew before they would commit to flying to the moon.
It looks a little choppy, but it's looks pretty calm for being out in the middle of the ocean, though. They're still a good ways off the coast. Could be worse. I see a Pius in there lurking too. Welcome in, Pius.
With the side hatch of Orion having been opened to set the stage for the erection of the inflatable life raft known as the front porch to be erected alongside the spacecraft for the extraction of the crew. Let's play for you an interview that my colleague Megan Cruz conducted on the USS John P. Murtha with Navy diver First Class David McMahon that explains how this process is unfolding.
Okay, Davey, so you and some of your team, one last look over of the stabilization collar, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what is this stabilization collar?
This is what's going to stabilize the capsule out there in the ocean. We don't know how good the weather or the waves will be that day, so this will help prevent any unnecessary occurrences from happening, stabilizing the capsule and the astronauts inside.
So basically this is a float that will go around Orion. I'm assuming that what they're doing right now, these are the lines that will attach the collar onto Orion?
That is correct.
And so what are they doing here?
So we've got the lower line that will secure the inflation device before we inflate it. That gives us the go-ahead that it's secure in its space, and then we'll inflate it. And then once that is done, we'll undo all the carabiners and get this orange line on top tied in the same fashion. And then this will be secured to the capsule, and the astronauts can safely take their first steps out of the capsule onto the front porch.
Okay, and how long will it take them to set up the stabilization collar?
We should definitely be able to handle this in under 10 minutes.
Okay, wow. And then you just mentioned the front porch. So basically after they set up this stabilization collar, then they set up what's called the front porch here.
That's correct.
Okay, and what's the front porch?
Front porch is basically a bigger waiting room for the astronauts to sit in while we wait for the helicopters to show up and grab them.
Okay, so the medical team that was inside with the crew, they're going to help them out and onto the front porch?
That is correct.
And then what happens here?
We have higher trained medical personnel also on board the front porch that will give them lookovers and just make sure they're okay while we wait for the helicopters to show up.
Okay. How does it feel, I mean, your team, you, to be part of a mission that's returning astronauts from the moon in more than 50 years?
We all feel extremely honored to be.
I'm sorry, but some of those questions are just stupid questions.
For the Navy and joining up with NASA to do great things.
And do you feel like you and your team are ready?
Yes, very ready.
Cool. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Surprised Manette's not here watching to see if any of the sharks.
Once again, the recovery operations are continuing out in the Pacific. We shortly should see that life raft, the front porch, erected alongside the side hatch of the vehicle. A number of flight controllers have come into the flight control room to receive congratulations from Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling. But we're going to stick with our operations out in the Pacific as we await the extraction of the 4 crew members who are reported to be in excellent condition.
Sorry, I'm tired of stink bugs everywhere. I've sprayed 2 or 3 times, and I've got rid of most of the ladybugs. With the
of the side hatch of the vehicle.
I don't even know how they're getting in.
USS John P. Murtha and Megan Cruz. Megan?
Thought they were getting in through the seal in the front door. That's why I kept spraying it around all the edges.
Hey, Rob. Pausing now to listen to some internal audio loops. Again, the operations team here on the ship communicating with everyone out on the water.
They were pulling out that inflatable donut a minute ago. I don't know what happened.
A little bit from
they pulled away with it.
And inflating the stabilization collar as
yeah,
well
stabilization
as
collar.
The front porch. But again, the requirement to get the crew out within 2 hours of splashdown, plenty of time. So no concerns just yet. But as calm as the water looks, yeah, it looks like it's hindering the teams just a tad. You can see in some of our shots that side hatch still open. Again, inside there are now 8 people inside. 4 divers, Navy divers, all with medical training, each assigned to an astronaut each. making sure that they're comfortable, feeling good. As you've heard us say in the broadcast, you know, they expect a little bit of discomfort. Again, these astronauts just traveled back to Earth at 25,000 miles an hour, a nearly 695,000-mile journey around the moon. If you think you get car sick.
I don't get car sick.
Again, 6 boats out there, lots of gear with them.
Unless I'm drunk.
Just in case, right?
Wolf, welcome in.
Reported feeling great. But again, all those folks out there, in case they weren't, right? NASA is all about making sure we think about every situation that can happen. And so, of course, wanted to be ready.
Okay, there's the
in case
inflation
any of our
ring.
astronauts needed
Stabilization ring.
more medical attention while out there in the water. You see now teams again trying to set up.
In my book, they're taking a long time to do this, but like they said, this is the first time in 50 years that NASA's had to do this.
They need both, right?
And the Navy, because I don't think the Navy helps out SpaceX.
As you see it is doing now.
I think SpaceX has their own crew for that.
And then they will connect to the front porch to the stabilization collar so that the crew can take 2 steps and they will be in the front porch.
Like one of the guys in there is on a phone for something. Having to lean out the door probably to get a signal. Because the other sat phone didn't work earlier.
Audio, that's a good thing. Again, things proceeding pretty nominally. Even if they're fighting.
All right, give me a sec. I'm going to get some more tea.
Out there on the Pacific Ocean.
And we can listen to NASA talk for a bit. All right, Free, we'll see you in a little bit.
Setting up the stabilization collar and the front porch so that the crew can rest comfortably in the front porch, get placed into harnesses so that 2 helicopters can lift them off the front porch and onto the USS John Murtha here. The helicopters are going to take turns picking up an astronaut. So again, Helo 1 and Helo 2. Okay, and the recovery team here on the ship just got a report from the undersea medical officer who is inside the capsule with the crew. He is reporting all 4 members are green. All of our 4 astronauts, Reed, Victor, Christina, Jeremy, green, meaning they are feeling great, not the complexion of their skin. They are feeling great, happy to be home, and ready to be extracted as soon as possible. And so, as I was saying, we have 2 helicopters circling the activity you're seeing on the water right now. Each will take turns picking up an astronaut. So Helo 1 will come on in, hover above the front porch, about 40 feet above the front porch. A Navy recovery specialist will be hoisted down into the front porch.
The restricted maneuvering doctrine is in effect.
Will connect to the first astronaut, which we're expecting to be Christina. And then Helo 2 comes around, picks up Jeremy, while Helo 1 stays above head. And then Helo 1 will come back in for another astronaut, and then Helo 2 for the last astronaut, and then back to the flight deck here on the recovery ship. I was talking to Assistant Artemis Recovery Director Paul Sierpinski. He said helos are a much
good deal, Kim.
To get on board. They did actually consider boats, but then if
did you get it too big or what?
The crew would have to move through more of the ship. This way, the helos will give a more direct, quicker route to the medical bay for our 4 astronauts. Beautiful shots from our aerial and imagery teams. Clouds have dissipated for a clear view from the bow of the recovery ship here. You can still see divers in the water there. Encircling Orion, that is that stabilization collar we've been telling you about. As you saw in that interview just a few minutes ago, they have to first connect it to Orion, and then once it's secured onto Orion, they can inflate it, and then they'll further secure it with other harnesses and lines. About an hour and 10 minutes since splashdown in the Pacific Ocean here.
Yeah, by now Starship would have already had Dragon up on the ship. I think it just takes right at about an hour after splashdown, if that.
After a history-making mission to the moon and back. If you missed what we said just a couple of minutes ago, the undersea medical officer inside with the crew in Orion reporting all 4 crew members feeling great. Progress being made there on the stabilization collar. It looks like they are beginning to inflate it. And it looks like they're starting to unfold the front porch in order to get that into the water here shortly and inflate that as well. Again, more than 40 people out in the water right now. And those Navy and NASA personnel have been in the water for now about 4 hours.
They've been in boats. They haven't actually been in the water that long.
The reason why they had to get out so early is just to stage everything. And actually here on the ship, when there are flight operations happening, you can't have anything else, right? Just because the flight deck can be a dangerous place, so they just want to focus on planes coming and going from the ship, so that's why they wanted to get the boats in the water to make sure that they have all the time they needed for the flight ops.
And the same crew here out in the water, they will stay out in the water for a number of hours after we recover the crew and get them back on the ship, because then they have to recover Orion. All right, that stabilization collar looking good around Orion. We're now seeing some recovery personnel getting on to that collar. Again, they need to further attach it to Orion to make sure that it can really prop up the spacecraft. It's basically lifting it up off of the water just a tad. Again, so it's not so so it doesn't sway so much in the water there.
Looks like they're having trouble with the backside of it over there.
And now that front porch looks like it's nearly fully inflated as well. You can see a much larger surface area. And so once the crew get out of Orion, they can stretch their legs a little bit on this front porch, get some fresh air. And enjoy this beautiful day here on their home planet. It appears teams now are about to connect the front porch to the stabilization collar. And at that point, when both are secure, we should soon
Hey,
see
walkabout.
astronauts
It's going all right.
come out of Orion.
Watching the American astronauts come back down. I think the Navy needs to practice this a little bit more before the next launch. They're a little slow. They're having trouble with that collar there on the backside.
All these views you see also being fed to the Landing Force Operations Center here on the ship. Of course, it is very important for our recovery teams leading the mission to have all the views that you're seeing as well. Again, listening to their communication loop here on the ship. Very quiet, which is a good thing. It means things are going pretty nominally, meaning as expected.
Like they're playing with their camera settings. I think they need to invest in some better cameras, though. These are okay shots, but
Again,
this is 2026. We want to see high def.
Away from the ship, so that means this will be a very quick flight back on the helicopters for the crew. 2-3 minutes, and then they'll be back here on the ship. Okay, saw a thumbs up from one of the personnel on the front porch. It looks like they are now getting ready to deploy what they call the Air Rescue Vest, ARV. And so this is the harness that each crew member will get into in order to be hoisted into the helicopters. Again, those helicopters hovering just about 40 feet above the front porch when they're ready to pick up each.
Yeah, tell me about it. My deer cams are better than this.
This is Mission Control Houston. Behind me, a fairly raucous scene as hundreds of flight controllers have poured into the flight control room here. This is reminiscent of the scene after the final shuttle mission of STS-135, although that was the end of a program. This is only the beginning of a program with the textbook splashdown of Integrity and its 4 astronauts. We're standing by for the crew to be extracted from the spacecraft. Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling invited all of these flight controllers who have contributed to this mission to enter the flight control room to have an opportunity to receive well wishes and to share the mutual glow that exists in the wake of a textbook mission.
Yeah, well, I thought about wireless cameras, but
Mission Control, a sign that says "Welcome Home Integrity."
you got to worry about batteries and all that kind of stuff. And if I have to power a camera, might as well power it over PoE.
Splashdown activities, even as we await the crew being extracted from the vehicle to be hoisted onto Navy helicopters for the trip back to the USS John P. Murtha.
I already ate, and I'm already getting the munchies.
Once again here in Mission Control, this view of the Artemis Flight Control Room, known as the White Flight Control Room. This is the old shuttle flight control room, and now is the home of Artemis missions to the moon and beyond. Once again, quite a few flight controllers were invited in by Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling to share in the jubilation following the successful splashdown of Integrity. That splashdown occurring an hour and 22 minutes ago, as we stand by for the completion of the extraction of the crew, and ultimately they're hoisting onto Navy helicopters for a short flight back to the USS John P. Murtha. Splashdown occurred at 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. I had an opportunity to talk to the head of Flight Dynamics, Jeff Birch, a moment or two ago. He said the trajectory of Integrity coming through the Earth's atmosphere was so precise, they've never seen anything line up on a ground track like today's entry by Integrity for its splashdown southwest of San Diego. You can hear it.
That's the first one out.
Jubilation here in the flight control room. The first crew member is out of integrity.
All right, got my order for some cheesy sticks in from Pizza Hut.
We are expecting the other crew members
about 30 minutes away,
to be
roughly.
extracted.
Take Pizza Hut about 10-15 minutes just to make it.
We now have 2 crew members out. Two crew members out, 2 to go.
Lady Mina, I still love pizza, but there's too much bread there for me. Order of breadsticks is a lot smaller. I try to stay away from bread because of the carbs.
And Reed Wiseman, the commander who will be last out of the vehicle, reported that all the crew members were feeling very well.
And it doesn't matter what kind of pizza I choose, it seems to always cost me $30 to $40 from Pizza Hut to order a whole pizza. Unless I go up there and pick it up myself.
Crew member number 3 now out.
I just ordered through DoorDash too. Their delivery fees are a lot lower. Pizza Hut, if I get it through them and have it delivered through them, friggin' it goes through the roof.
And now standing by for the commander, Reed Wiseman.
Rather spend $15 instead of $30. And with Pizza Hut, there's a minimum order amount too.
Conditions, Integrity spanned 694,000 miles during its journey from launch to splashdown.
Yeah, I'm out on the 4th. Probably the commander. I know with SpaceX, the commander is usually the last one out of the capsule. Not sure how NASA does it.
And we now have Reed Wiseman out of the vehicle. All 4 crew members now out of integrity.
And they never did get that stabilization ring tied up all together on the back. I'd assume they're going to leave that on while they tow it back. They'll probably take the front porch off.
Once again, all 4 crew members now on the front porch. And the procedure to begin hoisting them up to these 2 Navy helicopters hovering overhead will begin shortly. This is Mission Control Houston. The mission is over, but the melody lingers on as jubilation continues here in the flight control room. We should be expecting NASA's Associate Administrator, Amit Kshatriya, to be joining us shortly for a short interview while the recovery operations continue out in the Pacific. So we'll stand by for that. And then we'll turn it back over to Megan Cruz aboard the USS John P. Murtha.
Yeah, we don't have Grubhub around here. We just now got DoorDash here back just about a month or so ago. For a while they couldn't get enough drivers, and they were doing delivery for like Pizza Hut and people like that during the week, but then they finally brought back DoorDash.
A number of flight controllers basking in the glory of the successful end of this mission that carried 4 astronauts around the moon on a lunar flyby, and the first test flight of Orion with crew members on board. Splashdown occurring an hour and 32 minutes ago after a flawless descent back into the Earth's atmosphere for the vehicle. Its 4 crew members in good shape, simply enjoying their time right now on the front porch, as it were, the inflatable raft alongside the Integrity spacecraft. We're expecting Amit Kshatriya, the NASA Associate Administrator, to join us here momentarily for a brief interview before we turn it back over.
Yeah, more than likely.
Aboard the USS John P. Murtha, the recovery ship.
After they get them lifted up, they're going to tow that thing back to the boat and hoist it up on the boat. Got a little bit of work to do on it. They've had communication problems. They had intermittent problems with the commode. Then the commode finally went out altogether. So they had to wear diapers for a lot of the flight. Well, for some of it. Oh, they've still got like vacuum tools they can use for the liquids. It's always a little harder to process. I know back in the Apollo days they used to have to poop into a bag. Now, during Apollo, I think they did that with the liquid in the past. But I don't think they jettison anything out into space like that anymore. They bring it all back down to Earth and then, process it properly. I mean, you want a giant turd floating around in space? It's going to freeze up, then hit a satellite like a rock.
This is Mission Control Houston. We're about an hour and 34 minutes since the textbook splashdown of integrity in the Pacific to bring home our astronauts. And with us now is Amit Kshatriya, the NASA Associate Administrator. Amit, a little bit of history.
Those cameras aren't too bad, but they're so far away they're zoomed in. That's why I think that's one reason why it's pixelating like that, because it looks like my deer cams when I zoom too far in.
Rob, we're here in the control center, and it's kind of overrun with jubilant folks from the Mission Control Houston, as well as engineering, and folks that just want to be here, part of it, as we watch our crew get extracted from the vehicle. And you know, my thought is always about
the walkabout. What are you and Manette up to tonight?
Right now, pulling the crew out, the team here in Houston that worked so hard over the last 10 days, no sleep to get this done. We still have some work to do to get the crew to the med bay here on the ship. They all look great.
A literal asteroid.
Too long. You know, I think we saw the administrator on the boat too, giving his thanks to the Navy team on the Mirth.
Yeah, we've already got enough debris floating around this around the planet as it is.
If you pull it all the way back to the workers and the folks that joined the rocket at Michoud, that made the heat shield tiles, that helped.
I mean, most satellites now are supposed to be able to degrade their orbit and then burn up in the atmosphere, but a lot of them don't.
The boosters and promontory. I mean, this is the entire team, you know, coming together and being tested by the environment that this machine went through, and they did it right. The work was good. They did it right.
Oh, okay. They're taking them out in the water away from the capsule, I guess. I guess that makes sense. You don't want the capsule bouncing around and affecting the raft.
Now, it's a little early for the full report card on how Integrity did, but did this mission ultimately, from your eyes view, exceed expectations?
It absolutely did. I mean, I was waiting to talk about this until we're in the water, and you know, I think we still have, again, work to do to bring it in and really kind of go through it bolt by bolt.
This mission actually went very, very well. Oh, that's right. He's in and out grilling pork steaks.
You know, I always think about energy in terms of the states that you worry about the most, and every time we put these machines through these incredibly energetic states that came through. So I'm fairly confident that we made a big step tonight to get us on the path towards the surface. I think the path to the surface is open now. You know, we do have to do all the work, and we'll make sure we talk about that as cleanly as we can. We learned a few things during the mission, but I have to tell you, this was an incredible test of an incredible machine.
From an American psyche standpoint, the Empire State Building was lit up red, white, and blue tonight. Our coverage was seen on baseball stadiums around the major leagues. How captivating was this experience for the American people, for the world, in fact, as we return to the moon?
You know, I have not been.
I mean, I'm proud of NASA for doing what they did, but need to bring the cost down a little bit.
I will tell you from my witness in Florida before launch, and then
be able to speed up their launch cadence. There he is. I was just asking you what y'all were up to tonight. I forgot you were cooking. Just ignore me when you're busy.
To folks all over the place, especially young people, and that to me is what this is really about. Young people, when they see what we can do when we work together, when we have teams that collaborate.
Pretty damn bored if you're watching me.
The problems are, we can solve them. I'm hopeful that Artemis II, as folks witness what we were able to do.
All right, my dasher is at
this incredible team that
Pizza Hut.
Into the world.
Of course, Pizza Hut's probably busy tonight. It being Friday.
And even if they don't come work in the program, which separately they should come work in the program because Lord knows we need the help. But even if they don't want to come work in the program, hopefully they grow up to recognize they can do amazing things when they work together and contribute to society and be good citizens and really.
Oh, there we go. It's picked up.
The challenges that are coming in the world are
headed my way.
If we work together like this.
Take them about 10 minutes to get here. If that.
You know, flying to the moon, we did it. We've done it again this past week and a half or so. But the engineering that went behind the design of this mission and the precision, the pinpoint precision of this vehicle entering that entry corridor, it's almost mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is incredible when you think about the energies involved and the uncertainties involved. That you know, when we inserted the vehicle into orbit, it was 99.2% down the middle. When we dropped the vehicle right on top of the fleet here, you know, our guys knew exactly where to go, but the guidance was perfect. you know, it's interesting. I've got this question a lot over the last few weeks about, you know, we did this.
All right, here comes the
before
first
53
helicopter
years
coming
ago,
in.
and,
Looks
you
like.
know, that I think, I mean, it is a reasonable thing to contemplate, like what's gone on since then. And what I'd tell you is, you know, when we did Apollo, which again, the more we learn about what they did, the more magical it seems what they were able to accomplish given the technology and the learnings that they had. But when we did Apollo, the architects of Apollo, you know, Gilbert, Seaman, von Braun, Mueller, what they really wanted to do, you know, as they were contemplating what it meant to expand our range of action to the lunar surface, what they wanted to do was learn how to live and work in space for a long time. They wanted to do that first before they were confident they could expand their range of action to the moon. Now, of course, the politics of the time and the mission at the time was different, and so they had to go straight to the moon and bring people home. And then after that, the program kind of lost its momentum. But you know,
it's just a lot of wind.
That NASA kept moving along those paths, right? So we recognized during Apollo that reusability was going to be important. We spent a lot of money on those machines, and you know, we spent a lot of money on these machines here. Even though, but we recognized that reusability was important, which is why we built a winged space plane called Space Shuttle, and then we used that reusable machine to build a space station. And we learned for 25 years how to live and work in space, and have been able to develop technologies that can enable exploration. So really, what I think is now, 53 years later, we're at the point where the architects of Apollo would have been pleased that we're now ready to actually go back to the moon and go back to stay, because we've learned all the things we needed to learn.
There's a lot of people pleased here tonight, and we really thank you for joining us. Amit Kshatriya, NASA's Associate Administrator, as we begin to hoist the crew onto the helicopters to head back to the recovery ship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob.
Congratulations, Amit.
All right, first one picked up.
This is Mission Control Houston, with the crew members now beginning to be hoisted aboard the Navy helicopters. Let's go to Megan Cruz aboard the USS John P. Murtha, who will take it from here.
Driver's about 5 minutes out. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Rob, yeah, back on the bow of the ship here, we are seeing the
Helicopter number 2.
circling Orion. The first one there, having just completed picking up the first astronaut. Helo 2 now.
Yeah, it's rough because that helicopter's also blowing that raft around.
Lowering a recovery specialist out of the helicopter. That person will touch down in the front porch just there.
Yep, hooking up to number 2.
Already outfitted with a harness that will allow them to quickly attach to the hoisting device. Look at the power of those blades throwing water out at the center there. The front porch with now 3 astronauts and the recovery specialists. Again, crews already outfitted with a harness vest. And here we go. Second astronaut now off the front porch, getting hoisted into...
The camera was lagging a little bit there, wasn't it?
That helicopter will now hover just a distance away to give room for the first helicopter to come back.
Lady Mina, wee!
As we wait for that helicopter to come back, make its way back around, just want to mention that the President of the United States called our NASA administrator today while he was on the ship, just minutes after we interviewed him live.
Oh, good deal, Kim.
And congratulated him.
Sorry, I had DoorDash up over over my YouTube stream. Don't have enough monitors for everything.
40 feet over the front porch.
I don't know, Lady Mina. What's the water like out there in the Pacific right now?
To the front porch.
Time of year. I'm sure it's really cold with all that wind blowing down too.
The wind, the water. But again, the recovery team determined.
Now the astronauts, they're wearing those big old suits, so.
Helicopter flight.
65, that's not bad. It's still a little cool for water temperature, but.
And more comfortable for our crew, who just completed a 10-day mission around the moon. Third astronaut in the air, getting hoisted quickly back into the first helicopter now. That first helicopter now on its way back to the ship here. We will soon see it land in just a few minutes. Again, all this action happening just 3,000 yards away from us, so a very quick flight back to the flight deck. And now the only person left on the front porch.
5 people live over here on Twitch. 4 over on YouTube. Welcome in, folks. Well, let me refresh that.
Now making its way back over to the front porch.
3 people watching. 7 likes. Thank you all so much. DoorDash is about 2 minutes away or so.
Making its final approach here.
Go.
The last astronaut, Commander Reed Weissman, now off the front porch and almost into the second helicopter.
Right, I don't know if they're going to show them recovering the capsule or not. We'll see here in a minute. They might go right back to the ship and then show these guys getting off.
Just west of San Diego in the Pacific Ocean. Exciting to see our 4 crew members minutes away from landing on the flight deck here on the recovery ship. 550 people on this ship. Excited, ready, anxious, looking forward to welcoming this crew aboard.
Back to my cameras. My driver should be coming down my road here.
Watching them now with our own eyes. Close to the ship here. Hearing them begin to hover on the flight deck, which is just across from us, here on the bow. The first helicopter coming in.
Ah, my driver's here. This is a new driver too, so.
Wheels down of the first helicopter, carrying 2 of our Artemis II crew. Pilot Victor Glover and mission specialist Christina Cook. Kilo 1 on deck reported on the recovery loop. Again, the mission audio.
I'll wait till they get out of the car before I get up.
That the recovery team are using here to communicate with one another. And an announcement just made on the ship, integrity incoming. 2 more helicopters on their way to the flight deck, one carrying the crew, the other, one of our imagery helicopters. Again, kudos to our imagery and aerial teams for giving us these beautiful views
Be back in a sec.
Of history in the making. Set amid a gorgeous, soon-to-be sunset here in the Pacific Ocean. Second helicopter. Making its approach of the flight deck. Plenty of people here on the bow with their cell phones out, filming this moment.
All right, give me a second. Let me add them. Add a tip on. I always put a minimum tip in there.
Some impressive flying here by the Navy. As we are seconds away from wheels down. And there you go. We now have all 4 Artemis II crew members on the USS John P. Murtha.
All right.
I'm sure they're happy to be out of the water and on this recovery ship with, again, 550 people on board, ready to welcome them home.
And it's so hard to go back online and let's just do it here on my phone.
Throughout the broadcast, just making sure the crew feel good. We reported that they were feeling good when they were in Orion, but those were just initial,
there we go.
quick,
Add tip.
verbal assessments of how they're feeling. Their destination tonight, the medical bay here on the ship, right after we power down the helicopters here.
They got me a Mountain Dew. It's been a while since I've had Mountain Dew. How in the hell did they?
Waiting for just one more helicopter to touch down.
Got some garlic butter sauce too.
Very limited personnel here on the flight deck.
Restricted maneuvering doctrine is in effect.
As that third helicopter touches down.
The ship is at flight quarters. Stand clear of waiter decks, aft of frame 095. Burn no cover staff side. Throw no articles over the side. Hold all trash and garbage on station. Flight quarters.
While just a few folks on the flight deck itself, there are plenty more on some upper decks. We see in some of our views a very packed crowd overhead. Announcements being made over the ship's loudspeaker system, reminding folks to stay clear of operational areas like the flight deck, so that teams can work quickly to get the crew off of the helicopters and into the medical bay. Splashdown today, 5:06 p.m. Pacific time. We are within 2 hours of that splashdown.
Ooh, just under 2 hours.
We have all 4 crew members on the flight deck.
It's all right. It's the first time they've done it in a while. I think the Navy might want to practice a little bit more next time.
Again, crew waiting before getting out for the helicopters to completely shut down. Safety, of course, very important to NASA and the U.S. military. So we'll wait just a couple of minutes here before we start seeing crew members walk off the helicopters one by one. All right, and now here we see pilot Victor Glover and mission specialist Christina Cook sitting on the edge of one of the helicopters, looking in great spirits. That familiar smile and laugh from Victor, I can see it from here. Christina, I'm sure, feeling the same way, just blocked a little bit by our camera here, but we'll see her here shortly. A photographer taking their pictures. Victor saluting folks on the flight deck. They look like they're in great spirits. Happy to be home, I'm sure. If you're sitting at home, I hope you too are wondering, what would you want to ask them if you got a chance to talk to them? Because that is what I'm thinking about. Getting the opportunity to talk to or ask questions of these 4 astronauts who just made history.
Wouldn't ask them stupid questions like, well, did you enjoy seeing the moon up close? That's a stupid question.
Oh, there we see Christina there, also smiling, finally peering out, waving at the cameras. Hello to you too, Christina, yes. Welcome back. Welcome, welcome home. A loudspeaker announcement on the ship saying, "Welcome home, Integrity." Victor in great spirits. I can't see who he's talking to, but I kind of think that he might be talking to his other 2 crew members. Shouting from across the flight deck, congratulations to one another. And so now we see some...
I was about to say, what are they waiting on? They're waiting on the wheelchairs.
Walking up to the helicopter. This is again the
just for safety.
Helicopter carrying pilot Victor Glover and mission specialist Christina Cook. Both have taken off their helmets now.
Now they'll probably get checked out and then they'll probably fly back to
some pictures, video,
Houston or wherever for their debrief.
This historic moment. A beautiful sunset just behind them here in the Pacific Ocean. Golden hour. These pictures will be beautiful. we see NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman. He is on the flight deck, as well as Flight Surgeon Rick Schuring walking over to Victor and Christina first. We saw the administrator walk over to the other helicopter, which is carrying Commander Reed Weissman and Mission Specialist Jeremy Hansen. We heard from Rick earlier in the broadcast. Again, he said he's going to be out there on the flight deck to do another initial assessment of the crew, ask them how they're feeling, anything bothering them. But again, from what I'm seeing, they look like they're in great spirits and feeling pretty good for folks who just traveled 695,000 miles from Florida.
I don't know if they do parades anymore. I don't know. Said it's been 50 years. We'll see. That, and I'm sure Canada's going to want their guy back pretty quick. First Canadian to go fly to the moon and around and back.
NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman walking across the flight deck. He had been talking to Reed and Jeremy, now approaching Victor and Christina. A hug from Victor? A hug from Christina? What a moment that we're getting to experience together.
I love Jared. He'd be a cool boss. Since he was an astronaut, since he's an astronaut himself and a pilot.
Broadcast as well, and he said the kid in him right now, giddy, absolutely giddy at what we were able to accomplish today, returning them home safely and in good spirits after a 10-day mission around the moon. And here we go. We're seeing Jeremy.
Yeah, roasted garlic cheese sticks. Oh, they're really good, Kim.
Across the flight deck, now on his way to the medical bay.
It's just a snack. I already ate dinner earlier. I had a bowl of chili before the stream.
It's a short walk, less than a minute. Again, that's why the recovery team decided to use helicopters to get them on the flight deck for that short walk to medical bay. And now on the flight deck, we see the chief of the astronaut office, Scott Tingle. Rick Schuring switching places. He's going over to the other helicopter. Big hugs from Victor, Christina to Scott. Again, a gorgeous sunset setting the stage for this recovery tonight.
Yep, I'm glad they all made it back safe. Shows NASA can build a rocket. Just takes some years.
Right. And now here we are, Christina, making her way.
Oh, they're walking them. They're actually walking.
Grateful, happy to be home. You can see she's looking up again. Lots of people. Just a few levels
People
up
hanging on to
off the
them
flight
to her
deck,
though.
welcoming her home. Scott holding the door like a gentleman, but back on his way to the other crew still on the flight deck.
I don't know what astronauts get paid. They get paid according to their rank,
So still on the flight deck,
their seniority in NASA,
Victor Glover.
and I'm sure there's some kind of flight pay for when they go up. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
It looks like Victor will be the next one headed to medical bay. More hugs, more hugs. He's a hugger. Victor looking good as he walks across the flight deck. NASA administrator applauding. Victor applauding for all the folks on the ship with him who played a role in their safe return today. finally, just one Artemis II crew member left on the flight deck, Commander Reed Weissman. Applause from the group there on the flight deck, I'm sure, as well as on the level just above them, packed with people. Reed looking good as he takes his steps towards the medical bay.
They're all walking pretty good. Of course, they were only in space for 10 days, so.
See our 4 Artemis II crew members back on the ship. Again, now they will...
It's not like the space station where they stay up there for so long.
Where they will be assessed by flight surgeons from both NASA as well as the Canadian Space Agency.
Damn it, Manette. Got an old PlayStation controller for them, too.
They will each have their own nurse. They will be helped out of their suits. Check to see that they're feeling good. Make sure it's not just adrenaline, but that they are feeling good from their long journey back from the moon. Beautiful shot of that sunset, illuminating our flight deck. All right, and now with our astronauts safely on board, I want to welcome on Artemis Recovery Director Lily Villarreal. Lily, I don't know how you must be feeling right now. Ecstatic, relieved?
So ecstatic, relieved. Of course, we still have to bring the capsule into the well deck of the ship, but this is a major milestone to have the crew here on the ship and in medbay. You know, our team has been preparing and working really hard, and I'm just so proud of them all. Everything went very well, just as planned. Our teammates in Houston, the flight control team was just amazing. We were able to have great conversations and communications about everything. And I don't know what else to say. I'm just so ecstatic. It's such a wonderful feeling to get to this point. Again, we still have to get the capsule, but this is huge for all of us in landing recovery, and I couldn't do this without my team, and of course the full support of the U.S. military. There's going to be lots of, you know, high fives when we get the capsule back in, and I'm so happy that the crew's doing well, Ryan's doing well, and you know, thank you for, you know, for everybody watching.
Yeah, it was great to watch the crew come back to the ship with you. How were you feeling when you were seeing them looking so happy to be home and feeling really good?
You know, the funny thing is that we had video of them from inside the Orion vehicle. They were like that from the beginning. When we opened the hatch, they were already out of their seats, having a good time, waiting for us to open the hatch. And they opened the hatch, and of course we did the first medical assessment. Everybody was doing very well, and they were just having such a great time with the medical team that was inside the capsule. I think they were all taking selfies with you know, the phones that they have, probably talking about what they saw, and it was just smiles all around. They were having such a great time. And then we put them on the front porch when we were ready to put them on the front porch. And again, you could see they were just so ecstatic to be home and talking to everybody. So we were very happy to see all of that in the control room of the LFOC.
How remarkable is that? Again, if we think about their journey, the 695,000-mile journey around the moon and back, coming back at 30 times faster than the speed of sound. I mean, how remarkable is that they are in such good spirits?
I mean, this is an amazing crew. I think you guys have seen it for the past 10 days.
Well, the whole mission went really good.
And
those 4 people, I would not want to go to space with them. Like I said before, they're too happy.
And pictures that they have that, you know, we'll get a hold of now that they're back on the ground.
They were thanking and sucking up to each other and everybody else, and it was just too much friendly going on.
From the crew about
There needs to be a fucking get off my lawn in there every now and then or something.
You know, some of my favorite people do around this 10 days was a sign.
Y'all know how I am.
And how excited they were. And so this is exactly how we feel in the landing recovery team
when they open the capsule door. I'd be like, "Hey, you're not gonna knock first?"
This is exactly how we feel now in the landing recovery team. We're so ecstatic. Yeah. Again, we have to recover the capsule. I want to make sure we don't forget about our Orion.
Lily's all about business. She's thinking about what's next. But yeah, speaking of these 10 days, I mean, we have been along for the journey with them, live with them 24/7 for 10 days, and just really seeing the engagement that we've gotten from around the world. What do you hope people take away from this mission?
I think that's fantastic. So, you know, my story was that I went to the Kennedy Space Center. I was born in Colombia. I was 10 years old when we moved to the United States, but when I was 7, my family took me to the visitor center, and that's when I learned about Apollo. And
I mean, super friendly people I've learned not to trust.
Astronauts, and that story was what really fueled me to want to do.
Yeah, that's probably what I would do.
And want to be an astronaut. And I think that this.
Although it's kind of hard to moon people in them one-piece spacesuits. Especially if you've been wearing a diaper for about 6 hours. It might not be so clean.
But we want to empower people to know that you can do this, right? If you want to come and work for NASA, if I did it, they can do it.
They'd open the door and I'd yell, "Hey, you're not Domino's. You're not Pizza Hut."
And I'm so happy about that. Yeah. Like Apollo.
Is DoorDash here yet?
Thank you so much, Lily. Really appreciate you being here. As you said, still a lot of work to do. 5 to 6 more hours to recover Orion that's still out in the water. So
I know they're probably looking forward to a good meal of non-space food.
We hope that this inspires people. We hope that you come and join us at NASA and accomplish great things with us in the future. Back to you, Rob.
Thank you, Megan, and safe sailing out there in the Pacific. Here in Mission Control,
they're going to show recovery of the capsule, or
flight controllers and all their support personnel have left the room to enjoy the aftermath of a textbook touchdown by Integrity that splashed down in the Pacific right on target to complete this historic flyby of the moon, the Artemis II mission.
Excuse me.
With that, we'll wrap up our coverage for the night and point you to a post-splashdown news conference in 15 minutes at 9:35 p.m. Central Time, 10:35 p.m. Eastern.
All right, that's just going to be people patting each other on the back for a successful mission end.
Spacecraft and the completion of the Artemis II mission. With that,
We probably won't hear from the astronauts till tomorrow.
An historic mission in the history books. This is Mission Control, Houston.
All right. Guess that's going to do it for us here. Let me see who I can rate out to you. I haven't rated out to Xbox in a while. He's back live now. Xbox got 8 people over there. Y'all go by and say hi to him. He's still got 194 hours on his clock. Go ahead and click that button to start raid. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. Thank you all for stopping by. Like I said, if you're over on YouTube side, make sure you give a like. Stream. Can't raid out yet over on YouTube, so YouTube it'll just be ending with the end screen. We ended up with 7 likes. Got 4 people still watching. I sure appreciate it. And we will catch you all next time.